15-year-old Jetty Edwards was found nearly 24 hours after she first went missing. And she was found in a spot that crews had already searched. We are at WHQR, where we just heard from several candidates hoping to get a spot on the New Hanover County Board of Education. I'm joined by WHQR education reporter Rachel Keith. He says, first and foremost, there was no active shooter on campus, and there never was one. I'm sure you can see the thick black cloud of smoke behind me. It's been here ever since I got on the scene just about an hour ago. I'm going to go ahead and move out of the frame so you can just see some of this flooding. We're told it gets about a foot deep. We do know tonight that a 62-year-old man is dead as a result of that boating accident. Traffic is moving smoothly at this road and intersection, but just a few hours ago, as you mentioned, drivers were being diverted and crews were on scene investigating. I'm Delaney Tarpley in New Hanover County, where I'll be covering the Democratic Board of Education primary. We're glad you are enjoying WECT's Sounds of Summer concert series. They're expecting a lot more calls like that throughout the night because of slush on roads like Highway 17 just right over there. Here is just what the ice is like on the sidewalk right now, so you can imagine what it is like out on those roads. From the moment Powers walked in, she was surrounded by friends and family. And once she actually got inside that courtroom, she did seem to get a little emotional, but those people with her literally wrapped their arms around her. Grace for the Kids showcases positive foster care, adoption, and child advocacy stories, and the impact it makes for foster children in our area. I reached out to Wilmington Police to learn what their current resources and strategies look like when they're working downtown. You can read their full statement to us over inside this story on your WECT News app. My name is Delaney Tarpley, and I am joined by incumbent Mayor Bill Sappho. By the end of the night, all precincts reporting you have about 50% of the vote, making you in the lead. How does it feel? Even though the shooting happened more than 2 months ago, Chief Coring says detailed memories of that night aren't going anywhere. He said not only are the victims impacted forever, but so is the community he was born and raised in.
You know, some people...
For Southport Police Chief Todd Coring, every day on the job is him continuing a family legacy. His father and grandfather both served as Southport's police chief.
You know, you hear people say, oh, this is my town, or I'm the chief, but this really is my hometown. I grew up here at this beach I played on, and my dad, we unloaded boats here fishing, my dad.
Which makes what happened right off of this shoreline all the more emotional for him.
What is it like for you to be back here?
Oh man, it kind of takes me back a little bit.
It's not easy for Chief Coring to return to the scene of the darkest night in his career.
I never in a million years would have thought we'd have a shooter here in our waterfront district.
It's been more than 2 months since a gunman opened fire from his boat at American Fish Company, killing 3 people and injuring several others. But Chief Coring remembers every detail like it was yesterday.
You know, when I got the call, I thought, okay, somebody has gotten aggravated and they pulled a gun and maybe shot somebody.
Then he heard the panic in his officers' voices over the radio.
I was numb to it. I was kind of in disbelief, like I said, riding in. I remember turning the corner and just seeing the mass amount of emergency responders, people rushing out. I was encountering citizens that had fled out and were running and saying, Chief, it's bad, you need to hurry up.
Do you think there's any kind of training that's sufficient for walking into a situation like that?
I don't think there is any training that can prepare you, and just going in and seeing what our responders were having to do and how they were trying to protect and save lives. It's numbing, and certainly something that you don't prepare to see.
He describes watching his officers hold pressure on gunshot wounds and perform CPR. At the time, they didn't even know if the shooter was still in the area.
The American Fish Company is so unique. The front, you look at here and you think it's 4 walls, but it's really 3 walls. The front of the restaurant, and that's what's so amazing about that location, is because the front of it is open to the Cape Fear River. We were still in an open environment. I was worried I could see a boat or two still in the waterway, so I went into defense mode.
He says about half an hour later, a brief sense of relief. Someone pulled him to the side, telling him a suspect had been taken into custody.
That was the first time that I remember I could kind of take a deep breath and was very hopeful.
Coring held a press conference on his own around 2 in the morning.
November will be 8 years that I've been the chief, and I don't recall a time that we've had an active shooter situation like this, so it's definitely it's a bad night for Southport.
That bad night led to a tough day filled with more press conferences, reviewing evidence, and a vigil at Southport Baptist Church. Chief Coring and his officers sitting in the front row.
Don't recall when I was able to finally get home. It was probably late into Sunday night.
Since then, he's attended court appearances for the suspect, Nigel Edge, who was arrested in Oak Island later that night. Edge was an Iraq War veteran who suffered a traumatic brain injury while serving. Investigators say that left him with significant mental health issues. He was familiar to police in Oak Island and had filed more than a dozen lawsuits against them and others in 2025 alone.
He was on their radar.
Right.
What's your response when you hear people saying that something should have been done long before now?
It is a touchy situation. Honestly, some of that does make us angry that there's only so much that we can do because, then someone will say we're violating their gun rights.
The situation in Southport has once again brought up conversations about red flag laws, or here in North Carolina, the lack of one. A red flag law allows for law enforcement to temporarily take away weapons from someone who has been deemed a danger to themselves or others. While Chief Coring isn't ready to say his opinion on the issue,
I'm certainly doing my research on it to see, what it entails, and before I decide, how I want to where my stance on it is, I guess.
he does think it's a conversation worth having.
I do want to kind of watch that and certainly be a part of discussions if it should come to that.
Beyond dealing with the suspect, arguably, Chief Coring's bigger focus has been on the victims, the community, and the well-being of his own officers. He says seeing the way the community came together in the aftermath of the shooting is something he will never take for granted.
You hear it a lot in the community, we appreciate our law enforcement, we back the blue, but to see it and to feel it like we have since this has just been, it's very emotional to me.
Now, Chief Coring wants to use this experience to help other departments any way he can.
If we can help other agencies, and you think about beauty from ashes and things like that, if we can train and rise up and see some good out of this.
So that this unspeakable tragedy isn't what his hometown becomes known for.
I saw those injuries up close. Baisden has staples in the back of her head and leg, cuts on her face and hands, and broken ribs. Her long-term partner, James Hinson, is sitting behind bars now, where she hopes he stays for a long time. We do want to warn viewers at home, the content of this story and some of the images may be disturbing.
I'm screaming, I can't breathe. He said, don't worry about breathing, bitch, you're about to die. He said, I'm going to kill you.
Her long-term partner's words still echo in Mary Baisden's head. Past Monday, Baisden's long-term partner, James Hinson, was arrested after he stabbed her several times at their own home. Baisden said the violence began after he had heard a rumor.
He took it to be that I had betrayed him. And that's all it took for him to turn on me.
She claims when she went to sleep, he attacked her with 2 different knives. Baisden showed us a knife at their home that she says is a near exact copy of the one he used.
At this time, my brain is registered. Here we go. It's him or me.
Baisden was able to fight him off and run to a neighbor's house.
I don't even know these people. But it was the only place with lights and humans.
They called 911. Deputies then arrested Hinson and charged him with felony assault by strangulation and assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. Baisden is now left with staples in the back of her head and leg and cuts on her hands and face.
There was 8 minutes that I didn't know if I had clicked my ticket or not. I have survived this through sheer will and God's grace.
Court records show us this wasn't the first time. Baisden confirmed a fight between the two of them in 2025 turned violent quickly.
He beat me with a black powder pistol. I ended up with 6 broke ribs, shoulder clavicles, and orbital and jawbone breaks.
Baisden said Hinson spent 3 months in jail, but then came right back home.
He just came back in. This was his place. This was his woman.
I asked her the question many victims of domestic violence hear. Why did you take him back in? She says she was so scared of what he was capable of, she found herself placating him.
You do what you're told. When I stopped doing as I'm told, you see where we ended up.
Baisden said Hinson would make her come home each day with liquor and cigarettes, or he would beat her.
She said she would panhandle to make enough money to afford it.
There ain't nothing like standing out in the junction trying to find $1.50 because you gotta have your cigarettes so you can go home because it's cold. And you look at those people and you look at them and think whatever you want to think, but you don't know. You don't know what they're going home to.
But Baisden is calling what happened this Monday her, quote, final fight.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I feel like I got to sit through a cheese grater, but I'm alive.
She says she hopes Hinson is in jail for a long time for not only her own safety, but the safety of her friends, family, and neighbors.
I made sure that the monster I had at my home didn't become a monster everybody else had to deal with. I'm not the only one by far, but I will be the last.
Hinson appeared in court on Tuesday where he said he would like to be represented by a public defender. He's expected back in court on April 23rd. Delaney Tarpley, WECT News. The Floyd family was already large, a mom and a dad and 5 biological children. But when they started fostering through boys and girls homes, they found their family and their hearts nearly doubling in size.
Hey guys. Most people would consider 5 children a lot. How about 10?
All of them. All right, I have Lindsay, Logan, Spencer, Bryce, Landon, Chase, Carter, Kale, Lauren, and Lizzie. They range from the age 33 down to 3.
John and Marietta Floyd never thought their list of children would be that long.
But we joked. When me and my wife got married, I said I wanted 10 kids. But that was 35 years ago.
They started with 5 biological children. But then a friend from church started telling them they would be great at fostering. With a full-time job as a school teacher, Marietta didn't think it would be possible.
For 4 years, this is what I heard from her and my husband, that we should foster, and I told them no. It's not something that I thought I could never do that because I couldn't send them back home. You fall in love with them.
But then Marietta's friend tugged at her heartstrings and told her boys and girls homes of North Carolina had babies without fostering placements.
I told my husband, I said, okay, it's time.
Some of that fostering then turned into adoptions. As Marietta would affectionately call them, her 5 foster fails have now completed her family, many of them living with her as long as they can remember.
He's been with us ever since he came to our house at 2 days old.
As you can imagine, with 3 adopted boys and 2 adopted girls, it can be chaos.
Let me get my shoes on.
We stay busy all the time. I was busy already, but it stays even busier.
Makes my hair grayer and falls out, but I wouldn't change it.
But that pales in comparison to their laughter and love.
They all didn't grow in under my heart, but they all grew in it. They just need love, and they need to know that somebody's going to fight for them. We've tried to provide them with love and stability when they come in. It's not always easy, but you just do the best you can.
Marietta said making excuses not to foster would have been easy, but working with an organization like Boys and Girls Homes made it simple.
They were there every step of the way. If we had issues, all I had to do was call and they would handle things. Everybody's busy. Everybody's life has a lot going on in them. You just take a chance and open your heart and your home up and see how, if it works for you.
It's not hard. The easiest thing you can give is love.
And as for whether or not they can picture more foster fails in their future,
oh, it's definitely complete. No, nothing, no more.
That's why it's on you to take a chance, just like the Floyds did.
We're just a big melting pot.
To learn more about volunteering, fostering, or adoption through Boys and Girls Homes of North Carolina, you can visit this story over on your WECT News app. Delaney Tarpley, WECT News.